over the winter example, like we have Sexton is going so fast, like he's killing it. And then sometimes they come to the race and then, they are not there anymore, but on practice they can go so fast.
I met a Gypsy.
So you do have that very calm, always been able to be focused under pressure. Where did that mentality come from?
I have no idea.
That's just natural.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, sure. I'm pretty. Yeah, I have always been. Yeah, some moment for sure when you play a championship or some first GP win or whatever. Then yeah, sure. You cannot say you don't feel the pressure. I was feeling it, but somehow I'm dealing good with it. It has not an impact on myself. I can feel it, but I still can perform good. I will not be sick or whatever. It's just before the start, I will feel a little bit the pressure. But as soon as even I just put my bike on the gate, I'm relaxed. Yeah, so many stories. Also that question example, I remember. So it's back in the day, maybe on the 250. For sure, it was on the 250, but I don't remember which year. And then, so it was a little bit the time that everybody. Yeah, now it's less. Everybody was putting the watch, to see the heart rate, on the bike.
Yeah.
So I was on the start, racing. It was one World Championship races, and then I was on the gate, and I was pretty chilled, really no stress at all. And then I watched, and it was Max Hensley next to me, and then Max Hensley, he was also looking pretty relaxed, but I watched the watch, and he was 132 or something, and I was oh, that's possible. That is when I watched that, I said, yeah, sure, it's not working, the watch. And then after that, when I watched that, and I watched multiple rider, and I saw always the heart rate up, and I said, oh,
they're nervous.
They are already in the racing,
Yeah.
So I have been always pretty relaxed behind the gate or on the track. So that's come just like this. I cannot explain.
What would your heart rate be on the gate, you think?
Yeah, max 100. Max 100. Even when I sit on the bike, it's lower than this, I'm sure, because like I say, I don't feel I'm the same as here. I don't feel anything. No.
That's such a gift.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
for sure. I guess because
you don't choose that.
Yeah, no, you don't choose, and when you have to deal with this, then it's difficult, I guess. But yeah, I don't feel so much pressure, and it's good because then I can be focused on what I need on the races. So this is this is pretty easy.
Yeah, that's a bit of that becomes as important as fitness in a sense. You can have such good fitness, and then that can help you get results, but also just to be so calm and present and able to make good decisions in the moment. I mean, it's almost a part of talent in a way.
Yeah, and you can see also so many riders are good at practice, example.
Yes.
So many good riders, and then sometimes I go to a practice session, even maybe last week, and then you are some rider that they are much faster than you on practice, and then you are yeah, but what I'm doing today, I try, and then I say to my mechanic, yeah, I try, but I'm not, I feel I don't have that speed to go that fast. And then on the race they are 10, 12 and 15, and you are yeah, but what they are doing, so and many people are like this, so good on practice, they come to a race and they cannot perform because I believe they stress, or they cannot feel good on the races, they don't make the good decision, for lines or whatever, and they just not, they are not good as practice.
No, and it's so true. I mean, I've seen people before. And you see it almost at every track.
Yeah, but even now, like even in the years, I guess in US it's the same on the practice track. Like I'm not there, I cannot judge, and I don't want to judge. It's not my thing. But like you can, what the sounds that sometimes we have, like over the winter example, like we have like Sexton is going so fast, like he's killing it, and then someone else, like some other rider, and then sometimes they come to the race and then they are not there anymore, but on practice they can go so fast. It's just an example. I say Sexton because it's what you guys hear. Like we can hear from here, but like I say, I cannot judge, but it's the same here. Like sometimes on the practice track you see some guys that they are not even racing GP, they are riding good, and then on the weekend they are nowhere.
I mean, you go back to Salt Lake City, Cole Davies qualified 6th or 7th in his own East class. So then he's way back and then beats Deegan for the win. Just to elevate so much in such a short period of time. And I saw that when we were at Star and we shot the video with him. And dude, he got smoked by everyone. He stayed out the track. He was like trying to get a lap, was blowing everything out, was like screaming in his helmet, was so frustrated, and then went to the race and it was him and Deegan just up the top. And it's just like, how does one guy elevate that much? But maybe there's something where with those true competitors that you need competition to actually bring the best out of you. You can't get the best out of yourself on a practice track because really nothing matters at the practice track.
Yeah, it is. Exactly right. Practice is practice. You need to, for sure. It makes... it's always like I have learned that like through my career, like it's not on practice that you will win races. So you can be as good as you want on practice. When it comes the weekend, it's the time to shine. It's there. And nobody... If you win the race, nobody care of... It's my thing, like always, if you win or if you have good result, nobody cares of what you are doing around, let's say, even if you are not riding, but take example, the guys who wins, like he goes to US, like he wins every race, but he's not doing anything. Nobody cares.
No one cares what Deegan does.
Yeah.
He just wins.
So, and I guess they do more or less the same things, and we also like we are not training like in US, like the Star Racing example. They all train. Looks like they all train together and everything. They share everything. Us, we can share like with some rider, but we are more like individual. We just go on our own. Because or we are different trainer or we want to ride different tracks or whatever. But at the end of the day, we are doing... Most of the guys are doing the same things, motos, training on the side of the bike, and that's it. And then, like I say, you can do whatever you want. If you win the weekend, nobody cares. So.
Yeah. And I think that there's something as well about the ego of practicing. So when you're at a practice track and, you might have some of your competition and they care to be the man at practice. They don't want to ever see anybody not do well. And that same ego is maybe what would prevent them, maybe makes a bad day worse or makes a good day too much better in their mind, that when they get to the racing. So let's say there's a guy, you're out at Lommel and he's smoking you on practice. And then he thinks he carries that with himself all week, like, oh, I fucking smoke Febvre. So then you get to the race and then you're right there. So now he is thinking that he sucks because he was just beating you.
Yeah.
But then you think that you're killing it because he was beating you. So there's a big thing about being able to just like drop the ego at practice and use practice just for practice, just for what it is, and it doesn't matter, and the race is what matters. But I think that there's a lot of riders, and it's in all sports, that they, like I know in the gym, when I train in the gym with people at jiu-jitsu, like there's some guys that they just kill it in the gym and they compete and they suck. And it's like they put too much of themselves and their ego and their worth into the training, and then it puts so much pressure on for the race. But it's almost like if you can just use practice for what it is, not care, then it gives you such an advantage when you come to the race.
Exactly. On any kind of sport, it's like this. You just, like you said, you just need to use practice as much better for yourself and to get better.
Yeah.
And if you are not, it's always the same, because you can always, us as a motocross rider, we can practice, and sometimes we can be alone on the track. And then we had a really good practice. Everything went well, and that's it. We feel good. And if someone is there faster, then sometimes like people say, oh yeah, but like even if you have a good practice but you are not the fastest, then you are like, I'm not the fastest. It was not good practice or whatever. But at the end, if you was alone, you did exactly the same. You are happy. You go home. You are like, I'm confident. I feel good and everything. So that you have to learn as well. You have to learn, through your career that sometimes, like you say exactly, like you need to train, you need to find a way to get better, but don't rush things on practice, mainly on practice, and like we spoke before, some guys are really good on practice and some on racing, and that's the way. That's some they cannot really explain it, or they put too much pressure on themselves and they cannot perform good the good day.
You just finished watching a clip from the full 3-hour podcast. You're on our Clips channel. The full podcast live on the Gypsy Tales podcast channel. It's linked right here. Go over to that channel, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and make sure you never miss a full episode of the Gypsy Tales podcast. If you don't want to watch it on YouTube, you want to watch it on the go, you can also head to our iTunes or Spotify to get the full 3-hour podcast in audio format.
I met a gypsy.